And with this, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the keynote speaker to be welcomed onto the dais. In a world of constant cyber pressure, Dr. Gupta brings a rare and timely perspective connecting leadership, resilience, health, and mindfulness. He will explore how inner clarity and conscious thinking are as vital as EDR, MDR, ZTNA, and privacy frameworks in securing the digital enterprise. With over 150 global publications, accolades including the Lifetime Achievement Award 2025. Let's please have a round of applause for that. And research spanning AI, genetics, and Rajyoga meditation, Dr. Gupta has inspired leaders at Oxford, at the IIMs, at the IITs, and the Parliament of India and beyond. This session is set to redefine how we think about leadership in cybersecurity. So let's please welcome to the dais Dr. Mohit Gupta, Professor of Cardiology, GB Pant Hospital. Namaskar, sir. बहुत-बहुत स्वागत है आपका. Welcome to you.
Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be here. Well, how would you feel if you know that the person who is speaking to you does not have a right side of the brain? How would you feel if you know that the person who is speaking to you has lost his 80% of the hearing and has been working with only 20% of the hearing for last almost 2.5 decades? And how would you feel if you know that the cardiologist who is speaking to you has 4 screws drilled in his spine, he has difficulty in walking, even in standing, even at this particular time, but still he starts a day at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, working for more than 17 hours every day, operating more than 60 cases, traveling globally. That is the power of mind. That is the power of thought that we are gifted with, my dear friends. Today, I'm going to take you on one of the most revealing journeys, that how you can transform the challenges into opportunities. You need to answer only one question. And if we are able to answer one question, everything will become clear. I keep on asking this question to myself every day. The first one is, can I do this particular thing? And that's a medical or a logical question. And the second one is, should I do this? That's an ethical question. And a great person is one who is able to balance between can I and should I. The only reason today that why we are facing these challenges is because of lack of the conscious clarity. And let me tell you, if I'm to summarize all the problems in our life and what is the solution, I always believe that secure systems are built on secure minds, my dear friends. So today, I'm going to take you on one of the most revealing journeys of your life. And this is going to be my own journey. I'm going to make you understand that how empowered, how beautifully and magically powerful you are. And these 6 stories are profound stories that I have lived in my life. Each story is going to give you a very powerful message that each one of us can live in our life, that can actually change our own mindset and which we can use not only in our personal but also professional life. So my first story is about the power and the essence of great student always. I went to finish my MBBS, was doing my gastroenterology there, also cleared IIT and took my medicine by choice. And after doing everything, I didn't want to be in US. I came back to India in 2001, became one of the youngest cardiologists, and everything was just going as it should be. But one day came in my life that changed my life. That was March 2003. I came home after operating for 1.5 days, throwing massive, it was unusual. Said, would you like to have something? I said, just like to sleep for some time. Hours of sleep, my brain still aching badly, she offered me a cup of ice cream. I took it in my right hand, and within 10 seconds, I collapsed on the floor of my house. For a cardiologist, this was like end of the world. Money, fame, power, prestige, everything I could attract naturally in my life. But that day changed me. I was rushed to the hospital. Next day, the whole doctors working on me. When I regained consciousness, my right side of the brain showed a large infective mass in right parietal lobe. Diagnosed as multi-drug resistant tuberculosis. 19 drugs available at that time, resistant to 18 of them. My day used to start with 9 tablets in the morning and 9 tablets in the evening. I was sensitive only to one injection, amikacin. Doctor anesthetist used to come and give that injection 1 millimeter in my hand. 150 injections I was injected with every day, and my hearing was taken away. Lot of pain. Ultimately ended up in a major brain surgery on 20th June 2005, where my right side of the brain was taken out. I was wondering only one thing: what has gone wrong in my life? Visit yourself. Ask yourself. I knew I had landed myself in a personal pandemic, a pandemic of personal mismanagement. This is what is happening with each one of us every day. While we are gaining so much knowledge, unfortunately, we are starving for wisdom. I knew the work and life balance is gone. The sense of continuously doing has changed ourselves from human beings to human doings. Lying down in the ICU, next day on 21st March, I was smiling and my mother said, बेटा मुस्कुरा क्यों रहे हो? मैंने कहा मम्मी, परमात्मा ने हमारी लाइफ को तो बहुत सिंपल बनाया है. And she said, then what is there to laugh? You've just recovered. I said, अब जलेबी से उलझ चुकी है जिंदगी, तो क्यों नहीं चाशनी में डुबकी लगा ली जाए? Let me just have that little sense of joy and happiness in my life. God has made our life very simple, but we have made a mess out of it. And I knew we all are in the emergency mode. The sense of that urgency. Each one of you sitting here, every single person, introspect. Keep down your mobile. Check your mind that why am I rushing and what for am I rushing? Where is the sense of balance that has gone? I knew that something has gone wrong in our life. After my surgery, I was absolutely fine. I thought now I am going to be perfect. 16 tablets still ongoing. To my shock, after 6 months, my pain reappeared. I again started having severe pain in my brain. And you know what happened? On 3rd January 2006, when my follow-up scans were done, look at this what happened. I developed another lesion in my lower brain. With the right side of the brain major taken out, another lesion had developed, and doctors across the world said, Dr. Gupta, this is not operable. Look at this. A scientist, a professor, striving for his death. He was looking at how hopeful he can be. He was looking at life, but I was losing hope every day. I knew old ways are not going to open new doors, and ultimately I'm a brahmachari. I was practicing meditation. I took up to a firm Rajyoga meditation. I knew if I don't change anything, nothing is going to change in my life. And next day, from 3 a.m. in the morning, I started doing focused meditation, where most of the people across the world would not believe what this meditation is going to do to you. I said, nothing doing. I'm going to balance my science with spiritual, with my meditative and mind power. And every day, for getting up at 3 a.m., rejecting the disease out of my brain, using neuroplasticity to reprogram my brain, I did it for 1 year. Didn't visit anybody. I complemented my medicines with meditation, and look at this what happened. January 2006, these were my scans, and after 1 year, when my scans were repeated in April 2007, without surgery, the lesion had disappeared out of my brain, my dear friend. As a doctor, as a scientist, I want to tell you that we all are gifted. This is no magic. 50 trillion cells of our body, we are gifted with magic, and our body works like an orchestra. Each one of you can reprogram your life if you reprogram your thoughts, my dear friends. This is the message I want to give you, that by neuroplasticity, by repetition, by consistency, and by belief, you can completely rewire your brain and your life, not only yourself, but even other people. And this is what is called the power of neuroplasticity. The single catalyst is belief, my dear friends. Only if you believe. My first message to you, my dear friends, is believe in your thoughts. Your thoughts today are completely empowered to change your genes, change your mind, and reprogram your mind. Today we are using artificial intelligence and genomics to reprogram and reverse the aging of people like you, make them free of anxiety and depression. And what we call as high pressure job, we make them enjoyable and passionate for everyone. My dear friends, my first message shows the power of thought that we are gifted with. My second story shows the power and the essence of healing and relations. This is going to be life transforming for you. Each one of you must listen. We are working in the busiest center, not of India, but of Asia. We start at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, operate till almost 11 and 12 p.m. in the evening, with more than 60 to 80 cases every day. Look at this, what happened. It was 2018, Saturday evening. I was about to go, after finishing my cases, back to my home. And suddenly, outside my cath lab, I had a 22-year-old young gentleman, young boy, came with a massive cardiac arrest, pulseless, BP-less, ECG was a flat line, and I was asked, Dr. Gupta, isko operate karna, you have to operate him. I said, operate, he's almost gone. What am I going to do? They said, give it your best try. We took him on the table. We put him on the ventilator. We put him on the pacing system and the massage going on. I angiographed him. All 3 coronary arteries were blocked. We gradually started taking thrombus one out of the other. And after 1.5 hours, I could restore his blood pressure only to 50-60 millimeters of mercury. With my mind saying he's not going to survive, there was a hope in the heart. After doing our best job, we shifted him to the ICU, uncertain whether he's going to make it. And next day, when I went for the rounds, you would be shocked and surprised that young boy, 22-year-old, was sitting in his bed, absolutely conscious, ventilator still in, ECG completely recovered, blood pressure had normalized, and the flow was perfectly normal. Everybody was happy, his family, my doctors, my nurses, and everybody, and so was I. And it was wonderful because it was a life saved. But that was one of the most disturbing days of my life. And I'll tell you why. Because I was wondering why this 22-year-old young boy had a heart attack. It should not have been. There is something wrong. He was a non-smoker, non-diabetic, non-hypertensive, lipids were normal, and no family history, no risk factors. I said, I must talk to him and his family. Married for 2 years, had a 4-month-old daughter. I went to his father and said, please call his wife. I want to speak to both of them. His father took me separately. I remember that Wednesday, and he said, Dr. Gupta, whatever you want to ask me, because his wife is not going to come. I said, why? He said, with his voice so much heavy, he said, they are on the verge of divorce. They have filed for divorce papers. 1 month later, they are going to separate from each other. So please ask me whatever you want to ask. I said, no, it's not going to work like that. Please call his wife and said, Dr. Gupta wants you here. This is what has happened with your husband. They reluctantly called her. She came there running 1.5 hours later. I made them sit in the ICU. I extubated the young boy. Everybody was out. And I started talking to them. And listen what I talked to them. Your mind will be blown apart. I said, what is going on wrong in your life? Kya gadbad chal raha hai? He said, sir, we both earn a 6-digit salary. I drive a Mercedes. I have a 4-bedroom plush apartment. We have no dearth of money. No internet, no television, no mobile. Just sit together on the dining table, talk to each other, connect with each other, shout at each other, argue with each other, accept each other, but have your child together and for 30 minutes, just talk to each other. They said, we will do it. And the second thing I said to the young lady, Dekh, tere husband ko main discharge kar raha hu 2 days later. You have to do one favor to me. She said, what? I said, I'm going to see him in my OPD only on one condition. And what is that condition? Only if you hold his hand and bring to my OPD. She said, sir, very difficult. I said, please do it for 1 month. That is my request. She said, if you say I'll do it, I discharged them and they started coming to my OPD. They came smiling. They came the first week. 1 week changed into 3 weeks and 3 weeks into 4 weeks. 4 weeks they changed into 4 months and 4 months into 4 years. They still come to my OPD. Their 4-month-old daughter has grown into a 4-year-old daughter, my dear friends, and they have withdrawn their divorce papers. And that is the day I realized the essence of healing. Healing doesn't lie in just having those materialistic things and everything. Healing lies in the emotional connect. Today, the uncertain mind, a mind which is wavering, a mind which is wandering, a mind which is full of stress cannot take conscious and right decisions. If we want to have a great life, we need to have great relations. And that is the day I started doing fantastic experiments which you must listen, which relate to each one of us sitting here and across the universe, my dear friends. We took 150 patients of age between only 18 to 30 years. They were all young MI heart attack patients. I measured their stress and took out their blood sample to measure their genetic and biologic age. And what were the results? You must see. These young people whose blood sample was taken and heart attack they were physically aged between 18 to 30 years, but look at this, what happened to their biologic age. Their biologic age was equal to a 60 to 90-year-old person, my dear friends. I was shocked. A physical age of 18 to 30 years, but the genes were completely destroyed and they were equal to a 60 to 90-year-old person. What was the cause? You would be surprised. 98% of them, a published paper, white paper that we had highest level of psychosocial stress, lack of love, lack of happiness, and severe anger in their life. Driven only and only by ego. Driven only and only by materialistic things, by only performance, they had forgotten the sense of enjoyment in their life. I said, koi baat nahi. This happens with everyone. But look at this, what we saw. That those people who had lack of love, those people who have lack of happiness, those people who have no proper purpose and their life driven only and only by ego, their telomerase enzyme goes down and their genetic age and telomere length goes down. And that is what explains the pandemic of early aging, of depression, of anxiety, of heart attacks, and of cancer that is occurring in India, my dear friends. On the contrary, the good news was those people who had love, positive outlook, happiness and gratitude, those are the people whose telomerase enzyme increased and their genetic length was perfectly normal. The good news was, my dear friends, this was reversible. And that is what we showed for the first time, that it's your perspective that changes everything. By changing our thoughts, we can change our genes. And today we are using genomics and AI and meditation to completely reverse the aging. That is what the world's longest study by Dr. Robert Waldinger, which is called the happiness study, and the Grant and Glueck study showed that the single most important factor that is responsible for fulfilling life, when 400 people were followed up for 75 years, it was not money, not position, not power, not success, not your achievements. It was only and only good relations in our life, my dear friends. My second message to you, my dear friends, is program your genes, have great relations in your life. Times magazine showed that your DNA isn't your destiny. The choices that you are making in your life every day, they are going to completely reprogram. You are going to leave this world one day or the other, and you are not going to take any of the things that you harbor or that you have in your life. What you're going to take with you are your memories, your joy, your happiness, and people are going to remember you by how much good you did to them, my dear friends. So conscious clarity will create miracles in our life, my dear friends. My third story is about the power of resilience, that how our thoughts can completely make us come out of the most difficult of these situations. I was a state level badminton player. Badminton was always my passion. And it was 2013, 21st March, I was playing badminton in the court. And suddenly, after picking up a smash, I had an acute bend. I suffered a major spinal injury. I collapsed on the floor of the badminton court, unable to get up. They lifted me, dragged me home. Pain was radiating down significantly. And my doctors, orthopedic and neurosurgeon friends said, Mohit, bahut ho gaya, now you relax on the bed. It was pars interventricularis fracture and the spine had dislocated in the front. I knew it was difficult to get back. They said, no more sports, you have to heal yourself. They made me lie in the bed for 2 months. After 2 months, I started getting up. With a dragging feet, I started operating, but the life was not normal. Every single day, when I used to get up, I used to visualize myself playing badminton. That was my hobby. That was my passion. I could see myself back to the court. I forced them, please operate me, I want to get back to normal. They didn't. After 8 months of such difficult life, I ultimately ended up in a major spinal surgery. I asked them to operate myself forcefully, and 19th January 2014, I was operated. Look at this. My picture first day after the surgery. My whole face spoiled. 4 screws implanted. How happy I was, because I knew I'm going to be perfectly fine. And this was my spine. This is actually my spine with screws implanted and my spine fixed. On day 1, I took a discharge from the hospital. They said 5 days. I said, no, I want to go back home. On 2nd day, I started moving around in my bed. On 5th day, I started moving without the support. On 10th day, I started moving out of the home. My physiotherapy was started. After 1 month of physiotherapy and my work, I started moving normally and started operating my patients. Within 3 months, I used to take brisk walking, and after 1 month, I was able to walk for almost 6 to 8 kilometers. And my dear friends, today, I'm able to jog for 32 kilometers and back to my sports again, my dear friends. What message I want to tell you is, he who has a why to live can bear with almost anyhow. Have a purpose in your life. A life without a purpose is like a body without a soul. My single and most important message to you that we all are suffering today is that today life is going to give you spirals. Most of us who are facing these kind of problems, we keep on encircling in these problems. My message is, as you are encircling, learn to evolve out of those problems. A great leader and a great person is one who is open to everything and who is attached to nothing. You have to learn to evolve out of those problems. That is the beauty of a great soul. That is the power of resilience. That is the power of one thought. My dear friends, my 4th story is about the magic of manifestation. How, by the beauty of thoughts, you can create and manifest anything in your life you want to dream of. I came back from America 2001, John Hopkins, leaving everything. And there were only 2 reasons I left America. Only 2 reasons, well settled there, because I wanted to be with my parents. And second, I wanted to do cardiology. Being with my parents, I had no option but to stay in Delhi. At that time, there were only 5 seats of cardiology in Delhi. And people who used to compete were more than 7,000 and 8,000, way back 2.5 decades back. And nobody practically used to clear the exam in first attempt. And I went to my mother and said, see, I'm going to give only first attempt. I'm already a physician and I don't think I'll be able to make it. She's a very positive lady and she said, Mohit, how many seats are there in cardiology? I said, there are 5 seats. I remember that 9th July 2001, that dialogue that I had with her in evening. She said, how many do you want? I said, I want only 1. She said, focus on 1 and delete 4 other seats. I went back to my room. I wrote in my book of cardiology, this 1 seat is for me. I wrote in front of me that this 1 seat is for me. 19th July 2001, I started studying for cardiology. I was not studying at home. I was also doing my residency in AIIMS at that time. Used to study for 40 hours, 60 hours, continuously taking little rest. And 9th February 2002 was my exam. Saturday, Delhi, Khalsa College. 3 hours exam, 100 questions, 9:30 to 12:30. I gave my exam, came out after giving my exam. And you know what you do after giving an exam? You go to your friends and ask, iska answer kya tha, iska answer kya tha? And none of the persons, my friends, my seniors, my teachers who were giving exam with me, they talked to me. And they said only one thing, Dr. Mohit, you go back home. 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m. in the evening, you will get a 100-question paper with all the answers so that you can give your exam better next year. I knew I'm not going to give the second attempt. I went for a haircut. I came home, started listening to that beautiful song, Hotel California, pushed all my books aside, and I said, no more exams. I've given my best attempt. I'm going to wait for the result. 15 days later, result came. My rank in the country was first. My percentile was 95% at that time, and the second, third, fourth, and fifth rank was 78, 77, 76, and 70%. People called it the magic of attraction. I called it the magic of manifestation. My dear friends, my message is, don't just attract, manifest in your life. My message is, when you glue your intention with imagination and put a do not disturb sign, no power on earth can take away your success from you. जब आप लक्ष्य और अपने संकल्पों को आपस में चिपका देते हैं और बाहर ताला लगाते हैं, प्रकृति और परमात्मा बाध्य हो जाता है कि वो सक्सेस आपके सामने लाकर रख दे. My dear friends, that is why whatever you want in your life, it's already on its way. So whatever you want to create outside must first be created in your mind. Every day I manifest my destiny. Every day I create what I want in my life, and that is the power, my dear friends, that we are gifted with. The problem today is the emotional imbalance, the catastrophic thinking that takes away your joy. Understand that your mind is working like a projector. Whatever you put in it, whether positive or negative, it is going to magnify it. My dear friends, choose positive thinking in your life. My fifth and the second last story is the magic of small change. Life is all about small changes. It's about consistency. When I came back from America, 2001, at that time, I was suffering from diabetes. I was suffering from thyroid. I had hyperlipidemia. I had fatty liver. And my weight was 96 kgs. And you won't believe it. This was my weight. This was my picture way back in 2001 in front of Disneyland when I was there with my best friend. When I came back, my uncle came to home. It was again now about 10th July. He said, what are you doing? What are you planning? I said, I want to become a cardiologist. He immediately said, if you want to become a cardiologist, you should look like one. And his words were like an arrow. They really hurt me in my heart and also my brain. 19th July, the day I started studying for my exams, my cardiology entrance, I changed my diet and lifestyle. Every day, I had a quality diet and I used to exercise every day. Fixed proteins. I had never had selective diets. I eat every day and I exercised and had a very balanced diet. 6 months later, when the day of my exam, 9th February 2002, by that time I had lost 23 kgs of weight. My diabetes disappeared. My hypertension disappeared. My fatty liver disappeared. I regained a whole new personality. Achievement was not that. Achievement is till today, in July 2025, every single day, my work day starting at 3:30 a.m. in the morning, every day I maintain the same schedule in my life consistently, my dear friends. The power of consistency can create magic in our life. Be consistent. It's not about people organize capacity building workshops. I say the capacity is automatically created by being consistent. Be consistent in your thoughts, in your words, and in your actions. My last story, a very beautiful one, which each one of you must introspect and listen is, there are no justified resentments. I had led a life of almost more than 50 years. I had moments of anger. I had moments of turmoil in my life. But let me tell you, the key to human-centered vigilance is only and only empathy. Ask yourself, is my mind today working like a sieve or a sponge? If today I allow everything that is going in my mind to stay there inside, let me tell you, my mind will never be clear. Today, our minds are turned into a garbage box. Any person saying anything to me, I allow it to come into my mind. Check your mind today. Check the level of anger. Check the level of irritation. Check the level of hatred and jealousy that we harbor. Check the level of irritation, of competition, of criticism, of complaint and expectations. These 8 emotions have practically destroyed our mind today. My dear friends, you may talk big, you may work and do great things in your life, but remember that a great security is only when your mind is free of all these negative emotions. A mind that is full of anger and a heart that is full of hatred can never serve, can never create magic in our life. It can only have money and materialistic wealth in their life. My dear friends, my message is, as you clean yourself every day, learn to take out 10 minutes to clean your mind every day. Free it from negativities. Learn to embrace love instead of anger. When there is compassion, when there is acceptance, when there is appreciation, and when there is love, even the single most powerful thought can change and program the thoughts of every individual whom we meet in our life, my dear friends. Whatever you nurture, it will be created in your mind. That is why the message is, you must empower your mind with meditation. Meditation is one of the most powerful epigenetic tools. Every day, 1440 minutes is what you are gifted with. And I'm on this dais asking you only and only to take out 10 minutes to empower your own self, your own mind, to nourish it with love, with happiness, with clarity, with peace, and with conviction. And let me tell you, as a scientist, as a philosopher, as a professional, if your thoughts are clear, your consciousness is empowered, you are going to create magic in your life. This is what happens when you are charging your mind every day. Look at this, the experiments that we have done, what they show, that when you are doing meditation, you inculcate purity, knowledge, happiness, peace and bliss in your life. And what happens when you are meditating? A normal brain would be having a completely imbalanced brain wave, which is prone to anxiety and depression. But only 15 minutes of meditation can completely reprogram your brain, your both right and left hemispheres, into a more emotional and a mentally stable system, my dear friends. This is the power that we are gifted with. Today, as experts, as professionals, we are generally working only with the left brain. And left brain is going to make us succeed because it is analytical, accurate and reasoning. But remember, it's only 50% success. But along with karma, when you inculcate yoga or you become a karma yogi, you activate what is called as a right brain, which is loving, which is free, and which is creative, my dear friends. This is what gives you 100% success in your life, my dear friends. My messages are very clear. This is going to be the magical day. A group of people like you went to a saint and said that our life is so busy. We are working throughout the day. When do we meditate? When do we change our life? And very gently he said, yes, you are right. You are so busy. You don't need to do and practice it today. You do it only one day before you die. They were very happy. And people like you, when they were walking out, one of the wise people amongst you turned back and said to the saint, but we don't know when we are going to die. And he said, then do it today, because tomorrow what is going to happen, we don't know, my dear friends. The time to change in our life is today. I don't know whether we are going to meet again or not, but you will always remember this day. A great life, a great secure system is created by a secure mind. I would like all of you to take out your mobile and click this single profound message that I'm going to leave you with, because this message is going to change your life. And the message is that today is the first day of rest of your life. It's up to you how you change your life. It's up to you how you design your life. If you change your thoughts, let me tell you, these securities, these issues are always going to be settled. Where the mind is going to be clear, magic is going to be spilled outside, my dear friends. So in the end, as I put my words to halt, I request all of you just to be and sit peacefully only for 15 seconds. Take out, look at me, and experience this peace and bliss in your life. Take a deep breath. Visualize yourself like a peaceful, like a calm, like a loving angel. Very peaceful, free of anger, free of all the irritation and negativities. Visualize, my body is perfect. Allow God's purity, God's love, and God's happiness to trickle down to your body. See your relations peaceful and loving. Everything perfect. Visualize your future, your work, the way it should be. Well aligned, free of all the negativities. Design, create, empower with bliss and peace. Peace and happiness is what is your true nature. In this deep state,